Hey Tubies, we're back. So with the ongoing slow progress of building the engine mounts for, or the motor mounts should I say, for our Leaf motor gearbox setup. In my last video I was talking about making a cradle, doubting what to do still at the moment. I was going to try and weld the cradle in position of the car and I don't know. So I've had another thought now, and I'll show you what it is. So the original plan is, or still is to build a cradle that drops down below the motor and comes back up, and I'm going to weld it to the chassis rail of the original part of the car, which isn't part of the subframe. So what I was planning on doing was dropping the subframe, and I might give that just a quick refurb myself. I might just repaint it and rebush it. But the ongoing issue at the moment is to get the mount off restraint bar. So I want to build a plate and get that in. And I've been wondering what to do. So I'll show you what I'm planning on doing. Right, so that's a rough mock-up of what the cradle's going to look like. And I was going to try and sort of weld it as I go through in the car. But I think what my madness is going to do now is, while it's here on the bench, clean up the joints here a little bit. Then what I might do, I might just put a couple of tacks, or just on the bottom edge of this, I think that's what I'm going to do next first. Just tack the bottom of these two corners. Then what that will give me is, it will give me a bit of leeway. And then what I'll do, I'm going to offer it back into the car with my plates that I've got, that I made. These are going to weld onto the chassis rail. So what I'm thinking of doing is, rather than trying to weld it all in situ, if I can get these welded up first, and then I can weld these to the car afterwards, I'll try and drop out because what I need to do is get it as close to the motor mount as possible, with it dropping down, round and up. I haven't bought the mounts yet. I'm a bit undecided what I'm doing with the mounts yet, but I think this will obviously be the cradle that's supporting the motor. I can't see any other way of doing it. I mean, some people on the discussion forums, they've literally built a plate across the back, but I don't know if that's still right or not, because you've only got one mounting at the front, so you're just literally at the back and one at the front. What I'd like to do is somehow pick it up underneath the motor, the weight of it, just to take the weight of it up, so it's not relying heavily on just the back end and the front end. So it's more, that's just me, it may be wrong, it may be right, I don't know. But anyway, back to the ongoing. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to tack weld these, I think, next. Then then I can offer it up into the car. Then what will that give me the possibility of is, if I just tack it, that'll give me a bit of flexibility just to get the exact position. Like if I need to open it up a little bit, I can just flex it a little bit until I weld it up correctly, properly all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and get the welder up, I think, next. And I'm going to just get these tacked up. This is what I meant about my super duper welding. I haven't welded in a long time. So this is what I meant. I've pretty much just put two welds at either end. This is the underside. So what I'm thinking is, if I need to, I can open or close the gaps. So let's try and just, this one looks a bit open there. I might just try and, so look, yeah, you could just I know it's weakening those joints, but it's all going to get welded all the way around, seam welded all the way around. So now that's what's going to give me now is, so these two plates, wherever they are, the car's in such a mess, I've been here for so long. It's pre-COVID since I did anything. Right, here we go. So these are my two back plates that are going to go on the back. T for Tony, or top even. So that will get plopped in there. So I've pretty much got that much gap twice for adjustment. So let's get under the car and just hold that up, and then we can see which way we need to bend the legs. Well, the lighting's not that great under here, but you can pretty much see what I'm getting at here. So this is the first mock-up of it. Got the angle slightly wrong on that side. So they're the two, I've just put the two plates on one side there, so that'll give me my gap. Obviously one will be on either side. So I don't know if you can see the angle of the dangle there, it's a bit off. what I might do, because I don't want it any lower than the subframe itself. As for this gap, I'm not too overly fussed, because you can just walk the cup and weld that in. So I'm not really fussed about the gaps, to be honest, because then I can just grind them all flat anyway with the metal once I fill that gap. So I think my next thing is I may get this back on the saw and just cut a few more millimeters off that, just to bring that more straight in line. I've still got the angle, or I could even just position's still not great really, but I'm still on the end of the machine really, the end of the motor I suppose really, and I still don't really know how far out. I've still got the adjustment of the rail, I can still bring it backwards and forwards. So I've sliced the end off that side of, like I said earlier. So that's been I'll just ground that off a bit there. I took approximately that much off. That's what I cut off it to get a straighter angle. So that seems to be sitting quite nicely there now. I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to keep it at that for now. Just going to get on the underside and make sure it's sitting above the subframe. I do have adjustment up and down. I'll have a little bit of give to go up and down on the chassis rail there. So that's all good. If I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and weld up the joints on this now. And then I'm going to leave it at that for now, because I'm really not sure. I'm not going to go ahead and just weld the bracket in without knowing what I'm doing with the engine mounts yet, the motor mounts yet. So I'm going to get that welded up, I think, next. And we'll come back when that's welded. Gone ahead now and welded up the joints. This is my attempt at welding. I've just given them a quick clean with a wire brush on a drill. So they're fully seam sealed now, these joints. Not the prettiest, but I'm sure they're structurally sound. Get the bits out. So that's all welded up now. So I don't know if to flat wheel them, not really necessary because they're not visual. They're going to be under the car. I might take down maybe the bigger, uglier ones, which I started doing, so I've got the welder set up correctly. Overall, I'm very happy with that. So you can see where there was a big joint. That was one of the big joints. So you can walk the cup. You can walk the cup to fill the joints. It does get very hot. It's nice to work on thicker metal. Normally I've just worked on like sheet metal of cars, and it's just you get all sorts of problems with that. It just bends and warps and you blow holes through it. So it makes a nice change to something a bit thicker. So we're going to leave it here then, guys. I sort of know what mounting brackets I want to try and get now. This is probably going to be the third set now. So originally I was going to try and utilise the BMW ones, which are these. But I don't see how I can realistically use that. It's just too big and bulky. So that's probably going to be out of the question. That's the other side. And something like that could probably be used, maybe. And then I went ahead and bought these ones. These are for like a kit car conversion. These are way too big, I think, for what I need. I mean, they're massive. Yeah, I'd have to make some kind of plate for those. I don't know. I don't know. So there's one more set which is quite inexpensive, so I may give that a shot, and then if not, I'm just have to make the best of what I've got. I think I'm not going to keep buying motor mounts just to try and make something to work. I do need to drop out the subframe, because I know it's sacrilege. I do need to slice the original engine mount, because that's where the coolant hoses come out, so I will have to cut that off, unfortunately. If anyone ever want to put this back to a normal petrol engine, they just have to get a new piece of new subframe, I suppose, to just replace that. So that's all I'm doing. I have to slice that do want to drop the subframe because that will give me better accessibility for putting this in. And also I will need to make the brackets. I still haven't decided. I'm going to do the brackets for the sides of the motors. We'll see you on the next one.